If there were no God, what would inspire music? My mother asked that question when I was a teenager, and I've thought about it ever since, because over the centuries, music has been an integral part of the walk with God. In First Chronicles, we read that King David instructed the Levites to appoint singers, and that these singers were set free from any other duties they had to do. In fact, the Persian king Artaxerxes, he decreed that it would be unlawful for any of the singers, along with other servants of the Lord, or the musicians, to be taxed or forced to pay tribute or custom. So it was kind of a big deal. Well, in this series, The Word and Music, we're going to look at the faith journeys of some of the great composers. There's people like Bach and Beethoven and Haydn and Mozart and Handel and people like that, and how their faith journey has unfolded. We'll ask some of those questions, look at where they were and how God inspired them, even when they've written something that's strictly instrumental. How can you feel the sense of God influencing that? How do we begin? Well, we're going to begin in the beginning. Papa Haydn, Franz Joseph Haydn. He was on the cusp of the Baroque into classical periods of music, and so he kind of straddled them. He was influenced by Handel. He taught Beethoven. Mozart counted him as a teacher as well. They were certainly very, very good friends, but he wasn't officially a pupil of Haydn's. Nonetheless, that connection was there. Haydn was a devout Roman Catholic, and he always credited God as his inspiration, as his source for the things that he wrote. At the end of his musical works, he would write Laus Deo, which means praise be to God, and also praise the Virgin Mary and all the saints. Haydn had an ability to engage his audience by using dynamics. The Surprise Symphony, for example, Symphony number 4, that's one where the second movement gets so calm and quiet that the audience is practically lulled to sleep, and then suddenly, bam, he hits them with a loud chord to jolt them awake. It was kind of a joke. Haydn was something of a kidder himself. Well, he does something similar in The Creation, which is his great oratorio of the creation. He continues it with a device called the tierce de Picardie. That's where a piece is played in a minor key, but it ends on a major key, kind of like this. Okay, that's the minor key. Here it comes with the tierce de Picardie at the end. And you see what happens. It's kind of that happier chord that you get, which lifts it up and makes it a bit more hopeful to something that's gone on in the minor key. The Creation is an oratorio. That's a mix of instrumental and sung music into one piece that tells a story. And it starts with a lengthy overture in C minor, which gives the sensation of the chaos and formlessness of the earth before God started creating things. Then the baritone takes up what's called a recitative, which is kind of a free-form sung piece, leading into a larger work, either a chorus or another solo or even a duet called an air. You won't need a lyric sheet to follow it. It's Genesis 1. And just as with the overture, the recitative is in C minor. And then the full choir picks up the song, leading up to the line, "And there was light." Listen to the way Haydn takes the tierce de Picardie to a completely different level. Here's the Academy of Ancient Music under the direction of Christopher Hogwood, The Creation. And a warning, this will get loud. Told you it was going to get loud. Legend has it at the premiere in 1799, the audience, when they heard that chord, they were lifted out of their seats with applause, except for Haydn, who bowed his head and pointed to heaven, acknowledging that's where the inspiration came from. That's just one of the works that we will look at, the word and music, as we continue Tuesdays, 12:30 here at the Mustard Seed Street Church, 625 Queens Avenue. We mentioned Handel's Messiah. We'll take that up closer to Christmas. There's Bach's St. Matthew's Passion, which is more for Easter. But also, Felix Mendelssohn found himself in a religious two-way street, his Jewish heritage and his Christian upbringing. And so he was led to write Elijah on the one hand and Christus on the other. Jean Sibelius' music reflected the way that he saw God in nature. And Igor Stravinsky wrote an entire symphony of psalms. So we'll talk about all of that. Come and join us, noon hour, 12:30 here at 625 Queens. We'll even provide the lunch. And let's appreciate the word and music.